Hello, can everyone hear me? Who's around? Send me a message in the chat. I can read them as I speak. There might be some delay, so it might take some time until I get the messages before I can answer or say something. First of all, welcome. Uh, People who are here, thanks for coming and watching. Say hello. I don't know who you are. I have some numbers that tell me some people are watching. But yeah, thank you all, mysterious people. And yeah, right. So the live stream. I have no idea what cables. I have no idea what I'm gonna do today. I basically just wanted to go online, chat, celebrate a little bit. As you saw, like the purpose of the live stream is to celebrate. So we reached 5,000 downloads on Android some weeks ago. At the time, I didn't have time to plan anything, so now I'm doing this live stream. So there are some options today for things that I could do. One of them is just chatting. The other one is, oh, hello, Alex. How are things? How is everything? How is moving? Catalaneta is, for those who don't know her, is also Alex. She is one of the team members at Polygloss. Currently on holidays because she was moving to a different city and now just coming back recently and restarting work. So, lots of changes and lots of stuff happening in everyone's lives at the moment. So we were a bit disorganized in the last months in Polygloss. I also have lots of life stuff in the way. So I really appreciate Alex's patience on bearing with me and with my mess. It's really nice to have her on the team. It's very nice to have other people in the team in general, but Alex especially because she's also a developer, and I very rarely work with other women in development, so it's nice. It's very good to have some company on the technical side. And now we live in the same city, so we have been meeting up in person, which is great. But yeah, so welcome, Alex. Thanks for showing up. How is everything? I'm gonna wait until things show up on the chat. As I said earlier, there is a huge delay between when people type stuff and between when it shows up for me for some reason. I am not very familiar with live streaming technology, so bear with me today. So yeah, as I was saying, there are some options for the live stream. The main goal is to celebrate the downloads on Android, because the app has been public on Android for a long time now, like since the earliest MVP. It has been public on Android, and on iOS is still on beta testing. All right. So we also have a very good number of downloads on iOS, but it's limited on the beta testing, so there is 1,000 and a few downloads. And on Android, it reached 5,000 some weeks ago. So I think now it's 5.3K. But anyway, it was a very important milestone for us because it helps us kind of like move categories in the Play Store, because they don't really show the exact number of downloads. They show like between 0 and 100, between 100 and 1,000, between 1,000 and 5,000, and then between 5,000 and 10,000. So we moved brackets from like about 1,000 downloads to about 5,000, which is very nice because I think it helps, it gives the app some more credibility because people can see that other people downloaded, and it's always nice. So Alex says, "I'm good, preparing mentally to come back to Polygloss." Oh, that's gonna be awesome! I can't wait to have you around again. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff today. It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited for the new plans. Let me see if I can share my screen on that. Give me a second. Let me see. How do I share my screen? Is this working? Can you see my screen? So I'm trying to share Notion's Polygloss page. It's slightly outdated because I need to reorganize some plans here, but our roadmap is entirely public. There is a link to this on the current website, so if you wanna have a look on the roadmap, I think people are able to add comments, but I'm pretty sure anyone logged into Notion can add comments. So feel free to drop your thoughts over there, but it's not necessarily ordered here, except for these two things, which are the things currently being worked on. So the main goal at the moment is to launch on the iOS App Store, and the development part is mostly done. There are some small things that are requirements by Apple that I still need to implement, but the rest of it now is a lot of marketing strategy and organizing things for the launch, which is why the next step is improving the website a little bit, because I'm not sure if you are familiar with the website. It looks like crap. I am not a designer. Please remember, I'm not a designer. And I haven't put a lot of effort into the website, right? To be honest, I was just spending most of the time on the app because, it is the product, right? But now it's time to put some effort into the image a little bit. So a part of it was work on the design itself of the app, not on the on functionality. So this is the last thing that we were working on that's finished. To be fair, so I was talking about this on the other live stream that I did, that the design of the app was really horrible. It had like this very vibrant green and pink colors, which I love as a color scheme. As you can see from my office, it also has like the pink and the green theme. It's a color combination that I really like because it gives me like tropical vibes. But it was really too shocking for study environments, and I'm really happy that I had Douglas, Lindy, and Fernando involved in changing that. That was great. So now the app is looking a lot better. Let me see if I can share the screen of the mobile a little bit. That's always more complicated because, as I said, I'm not super familiar with the live streaming shenanigans. Yeah, this is not something I do very often. Maybe I should do, to get more familiar with sharing, to get more comfortable with being out there and speaking in very long monologues. So Alex says she's seen worse. I mean, okay, it was not that horrible the last um, the last design, but it could get a lot better, especially if we were planning to launch on. Let me close launch. Especially if we're planning to launch on iOS, right? Right, because people on iOS tend to be a little bit more demanding than Android in terms of how things should look like, and it's complicated, right? Because some of these things they take a lot of effort to implement, right? One of the things that I haven't been able to implement yet, actually, we're changing the icons. So the designers worked on this whole new icon set that is beautiful, and I really want to see it in the app. But when I tried implementing, it's just like everything that could go wrong went wrong, and I was taking days. And at some point, I was like, okay, it's not worth it. More of my time to keep insisting on this. I'm just gonna release without the new icons, and maybe we can go back to the icons later. Because at some point, I have to cut my losses and focus on the priorities, right? Yes. So Alex says, but the colors of the last design hurted my eyes. Yes, it did. And it was not just the problem was not just that it was too vibrant, was also that the choice of the colors was very bad because it was green and hot pink, right? So for people that are colorblind, so we actually got a report from someone whose partner was colorblind, and he was having like accessibility issues with the colors, right? So it was not just a matter of being ugly, it was also problematic. So it was important to change. It had to change, basically. So I'm really glad with the results and how it turned out. So let me see if I can share the screen quickly. 1 second. Maybe this will work. Let me. No, this is not going to work because the URL of the thing is wrong. Maybe it will work now, so let me try again. Hmm. I don't think it's working. No. Let me try again. Oh, I know what the problem is. Okay, let me try one more time. My phone was not connected to the Wi-Fi. So I'm using this thing where I can share the screen of my phone, but it needs to be in the same Wi-Fi as my laptop. It's quite a annoying setup. Actually, there's not lots of options in terms of software to share the phone screen in the middle of a different live stream. I don't know. Maybe there is, and I just don't know. Because as I said, I'm not super techy in this live stream stuff. So hopefully it will evolve with time. Okay, so now it should work, but Okay, can you see this? Yeah, so Alex said, I think it's because I have astigmatism and those colors get weird. Yeah, um, you know, design is very important. Good design is very important for accessibility, right? And vision problems are heavily affected by how things are supposed to look. So it's important to have something decent, which I didn't have before. So I'm very happy that now we have this, which is wait, there, here, yes, here, which is a lot better, a lot, a lot. I cannot stress this enough. A lot better than before. I don't know if I have screenshots here of the old app, but believe me, it was complicated. But yeah, like it's a lot more soothing. Um, there were lots of other improvements in the design that weren't just. Um, wait, did the stream stop of my phone? This is very annoying. I don't think the software is very stable. Nope. Is it just frozen in the in the play tab for you? Because that's what it looks like for me. But I can't really tell because all of this works in mysterious ways, right? Computers. As a software engineer, I can tell that computers are horrible. You know, I can say this with a lot of propriety that every software sucks. Like it's really bad. I saw like this XKCD during the weekends that is so true because it's like all of the software works on the top of yeah, it stopped, right? Thanks for confirming, Alex. Let me try one more time. That all so the comics I saw was in XKCD where there's lots of rocks piled on the top of each other. Um, and there is like this one block that is like this open source stuff that is maintained by one random dude in Nebraska, right? Um, so yeah, it's complicated. There is lots of issues in the tech industry regarding. Oh, I think it's back. Let me see. Does this move? It looks like it moves. Yay! It's back. Okay. But yeah, software is bad, including Polygloss. The code is such a mess. Like, it's such a mess. Alex can confirm that. But, I mean, it's what happens with all MVPs, right? They are created to be an MVP and then like that duct tape stays there forever. And then you just have to like improve things iteratively, right? You know, improving one thing at a time. So yeah, there were lots of small improvements in the last updates, not just with the design, but some aspects of flow of how things work. Yeah, there are some improvements in the notice for the subscription. Some changes in how energy is consumed. So right now I have an unlimited account, so I can't really show that because now I have unlimited energy. But starting matches used to consume energy and now it doesn't. I actually want to revert that in a way that you actually get energy by starting more matches. So instead of starting the game with like a full energy bar, Alex, I'm not gonna say anything. Don't worry, you don't have to protect the my coding integrity. I know that I just duct taped everything. No, it's there is there are moments for everything. There's a moment for when um, software needs to be developed with a lot of care and with the best practices in mind. And there is a moment for when you want to hack anything together that just works, right? And starting a new project, starting a company, and this initial phase where we don't have funding, we don't have anything, is not the moment to keep yelling for best practices. It's the moments where we just gotta make do with what we have and no resources and just hack anything that works, right? It is the best thing, both like product wise and strategy wise for the company. But that doesn't mean that everything has to suck, right? So my mantra has been like minimal best practices and improving things that I have to touch again, right? So if I have to modify something multiple times, then it's time that it actually is improved. Alex says, I'm just gonna say that I feel your past struggles while reading the code. Yeah, there's well, one of the things to have in mind is that I actually did not know Dart and did not know Flutter when I started, right? So my strategy for picking the framework for development was pretty much like this. I'm gonna try a few of them, and the one that I can get working faster wins, right? So I tried Flutter and I tried React Native, right? I was thinking React Native would win because I have done web development in the past. I worked with React. I had experience on that, so I was like, okay, it's why not React Native, right? And in the end, I just got like 1,000 errors before I could even write my first line of code. The whole setup of the thing was just so convoluted and everything was breaking before I even did anything. So that was a huge red flag for me. So, and in Flutter, things just work. And I have noticed this has been like a huge advantage. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, that I never had problems using Flutter, but it has been very stable development-wise and mostly painless, which is very rare when I'm programming, right? Especially things with an UI tends to be very. I tend to feel it's very painful for no reason, very often, right? I don't know. I feel like this doing web development all the time, right? Anytime I have to do CSS, I feel like that, right? So I start doing something that feels like it should be simple, right? After all, like I'm a senior software engineer, I have done this before, but somehow I end up spending 2 hours for aligning 2 things. I'm like, how? Why is it so painful? Why does it hate me? Right? So, it's just the way things are. Alex saying frontend is evil. Yes, it's very complicated. Like it has a very frustrating feel of like this feeling that is taking longer than it's supposed to take to do something. And it took me a while to get used to like, nope, this is just how things are. But it did feel a lot better with Flutter, yes. So Alex, I like Flutter, by the way, still getting used to it though. Yeah, so I really like developing things with Flutter because it felt a lot less painful, like a lot less painful. And this has been great. Um, even though I didn't know anything about it, I didn't know Dart, I didn't know Flutter, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna try to do something, look at the tutorials and see what happens, right? So there are lots of things that are not done in the best way possible, but they're okay-ish. Like, they're problems I can live with. Which is exactly the kinds of problems that I want to have at this stage of a project, right? I don't want to have the kinds of problems that I spend like 5 days doing something that is senseless. Especially because I like working on the front end of the products, because it's the visible part of the product, right? It's the part of the product that the people who are playing with are gonna see. Is a part of the product that dictates if the product is useful, right? If someone can actually learn something from the app or not, right? So I do like spending a lot of time bringing new features and looking at them and playing around with them, and planning the visibility of it first before I plan the details of how it's going to work, because it's the part that the players have to interact with. So it does make a difference to, like, that often I'm the person thinking about feature and also the person having to implement it. There are some challenges with that, which is, of course, not everything that I envision is technically easy to implement, but having the experience of the technical side, I can more or less gauge just, and having implemented all of the app in the beginning, I could gauge like if something was gonna be like a huge challenge or not a huge challenge. Which means I have to leave some features that I really want for later on. So one of these features that I would really love to see soon is playing with audio. Where is it? Here. Yeah, I would really like to have an audio mode on Polygloss. But this is gonna imply like reorganizing the whole DB to storage files somewhere. It's gonna make the infrastructure of the app a lot more complex, and in the UI is not gonna change much. It's like I can keep the whole flow of the match the same. It's just that sometimes when you're gonna talk about an image, you can opt between doing that in writing or in by voice. So that doesn't change a lot in the UI. It adds a lot to the experience of the app, but most of the work is on the architecture side of the app, and it's gonna be a lot of work. So this is one of the reasons why it's being pushed back a little bit to later on. And there is lots of other stuff that will add a lot of value that I want to see very soon. These 4 things here, especially. The player profile screen is a need. This 5, sorry, I forgot selecting the onboarding journey. So the onboarding journey is the thing that I'm gonna work on next. That there has already been some work on it by the designers. So Douglas and Lindy have worked a lot on improving the tutorial, started devising a plan for a whole onboarding the different onboarding experience. And it's very important because it's, you know, the first thing you see when you start playing, right? So it is one of the most important parts of the journey of the player is the first impression, right? The first impression is important. And people need to learn how to play the game, etc. And the other parts go more towards, the other features go more towards making, except for this opt-in for data in academic research, which I'm going to talk about later, but the other features are more toward actually making the app more useful for learning, right? And using the data in a way that is best used, right? Because one of the things we have nowadays, which is a bit of a problem, is that I send a match to someone, and I take all of this effort to write that sentence, and then that sentence disappears into a void, right? The other player is the only person who's gonna see it ever. And I feel this is a little bit underutilized. It would be great if that sentence can be reused later on, right? So I have like this database full of sentences that people wrote in a bunch of languages, right? There's like over 50 languages, and I don't know, like almost 40,000 sentences by now. I haven't checked in a while. I think last time I checked was a while ago. It was like 37. So there might be well over 40,000 by now, maybe even like 50 or 60,000 sentences. And this could be used in wonderful ways, like there could be ways to review, there could be ways to get more corrections, right? Because if I only send a match to one person and that person decides to not add a correction to my sentence, then that sentence is never gonna get a correction, right? So this is something that could be improved. So these two things here, sentence history and the quick play review, are important for that. They are kind of part of the same feature, right? Because first I need to organize. Let me move this ahead a little bit. First I need to reorganize the database so it's possible for people to retrieve all of their sentences. It's not organized in the best way nowadays. And I could make this easy by spending a lot more money, which I don't have. So I need to reorganize the database a little bit. But yeah, so I've talked a little bit about next plans. I showed you a little bit about the state of the app. Is there something else you folks watching would like to discuss? As I mentioned, there were some options. One of them, which is already done, is talking a little bit about the next steps in the app, what we can expect soon. I talked a little bit about the developments. I showed a little bit of the app. Other options are talking about language learning in general. Me playing Polygloss a little bit. What else? Do you have any suggestions? So DB work, I'm in. Oh, thank you, Alex. That's gonna be really useful, and this is gonna be useful in the context of the last task you were working on, which is automating the purging of the old matches, of the matches that don't get responses. Because after we're done with that, one option is to move on to like the reallocation, but you're gonna get some understanding of the database that will be very helpful for this part of the work as well. I started this already, this feature of being able to see the sentence history, but it didn't work quite well because I was trying to do it without reworking the DB, and of course that was very Very tricky. Um, but yeah, so as I said, some options. Um, I can just go and do some work now, do some development work live. I can play some polygloss. We can talk about language learning. Um, we can discuss the giveaway because I wanted to plan like a promotion for the players and announce on social media. And that's it. Those are the options. Pick one. As I said, I can't see the chat while at the same time as you speak. It takes some delay until it reaches me. So in the meantime, while you decide, I'm gonna share the app screen again. Let me see if I can. No, it is frozen again. Let me try to fix that. So I got a question from Alexis. How do I do with Catalan and Spanish mass in Barcelona? This is a good question. The answer is easy. The answer is that I don't. When I moved to Barcelona, I had a goal of learning Catalan, like explicitly, because I noticed that a lot of people that move here, they were content with just learning Spanish if they are, right? Because some people don't even bother that, right? They just keep doing everything in English, which you can do in Barcelona. It's quite a big city. If you have friends from other countries, you can end up speaking English the whole time. So you can do that. But that sucks, right? I mean, this is like something that is more of like the expat kind of person that comes here, and not really like the immigrant or whatever, right? There are people who come here and they have a place to go back to, like, after some years, after they are tired of the novelty of the experience of living in Spain or whatever. But I didn't come here with this context, right? I didn't come here as an expat. I came here as an immigrant, as someone looking to settle, as someone whose country is completely screwed. I really don't want to go back. There are huge problems over there. I wanted to find a place to settle, right? I've lived in other countries in Europe, or no longer Europe. So I was in London before I moved here. I didn't really like it there. I had a really hard time adapting, and I chose to move to Barcelona because, to me, it seemed culturally the closest place to home, while still being in Europe, and with the quality of life that living in Europe usually offers, right? So I felt I had bigger chances of feeling like home here, of adapting here. So this is why I chose coming here. And of course, there is like this language challenge, right? The language spoken here is Spanish and Catalan, so there are two languages. And I didn't speak either of them, right? I speak a few languages. Besides Portuguese, my native, I speak English, as you can tell now, and French. So those are the languages that I speak fluently. I speak some German, very badly, and very little Greek, like tourist level Greek, that I mostly forgot already. And I didn't know anything about Catalan, and my Spanish was non-existent in the sense that it was just Portuñol, right? So what is Portuñol? The thing is, like, my native language is very close to Spanish, in terms of vocabulary, right? I can understand lots of things, even though I never really put like a conscious effort into studying it. Um, right? I never took Spanish classes, but I always try to consume content in Spanish. Like I've read books in Spanish, I've watched lots of TV shows in Spanish, so I could understand lots of it. And the Portuguese allowed me to jump into this level by default. But I can't really speak, right? So what I do is that I speak Portuguese and then I put the Spanish words that I know in the middle of it and hope that this is sufficient. And the reality is that frequently it is, right? For basic transactional things, I that works. Even for having like conversations with people, this works. Um, and since moving here, I noticed that this was getting better very quickly. Just by doing this enough, I was learning more Spanish just by talking and interacting and using Spanish instead of being only absorbing it. So my Spanish like did a huge jump in the short time that I've been living here. It's been only 5 months now. Yeah, more or less 5 months. But Catalan is different, right? Catalan is it's too distant to just freestyle it, right? I can't understand Catalan enough just by paying a lot of attention, right? This is something I can do in Spanish, but with Catalan, this doesn't work. It doesn't work for a variety of reasons. It's not just that it's too different as a language, but the accent is quite rumbly. I think it's quite. I don't know if there's a word in English. Sorry, it's quite like people whisper and utter and eat vowels, and like it's not very well pronounced. While the Spanish here, I think, is actually quite well pronounced, right? Like all of the letters are there in the word, and I don't necessarily feel the same happening with Catalan here. I find it a lot more difficult to understand. But I can read a lot in Catalan, so I've gotten some books and I've managed to understand a lot. But yeah, I can't freestyle Catalan yet. So Alex was saying, I want to see you freestyle Catalan. I cannot freestyle Catalan. Because I made a point that I should study it explicitly, right? Instead of just trying to absorb it. Because the problem is that I can't. I realized that it will be too difficult because I can't understand enough. Yeah. So if I can't understand enough, I can't just jump into Catalan speaking environments and stay there. So I tried a few times and I just don't understand enough to do this freestyling. So I need to study by myself a little bit more and consume a little bit more in private until I reach this level, and then I think it will go better. So I want to take formal classes and do some formal study. And I did as soon as I arrived in Barcelona, I did a little bit of it. So like I think on my first month here, I was studying a lot of Catalan, and then I just had like lots of life stuff happening, and I actually haven't studied languages since then, not consistently anyway, because I had to start looking for the apartments, I had to start taking care of moving my furniture, and then visa things, I had to organize like my civil union and going to extranjeria and blah blah blah, and there was just like so much stuff going on in my life that I didn't actually study Catalan anymore or any other language. So I've been busy with lots of stuff. So I put like lots of projects on pause, and Catalan was one of them. And I'm gonna go back to it as soon as I can, because as I said, it is language learning wise, it's my priority. Next, right? I'm decided not to focus that much on German, for example, and focus more on Catalan. Because if I don't do this effort, it's not gonna happen. Right? I just need to dedicate time to it, and the problem was not having time. But I have to do it explicitly. I can't just absorb it by osmosis from the environments like I'm doing with Spanish. So my goal is to reach this point and then do that. So Alex says, I recommend watching TV3. Kuba learned everything by watching TV3. He has an amazing Catalan in just 2 years. C1 now. Yes, this is one of the things that I have to do, is consume content and get comfortable enough to practice after that. I need to understand enough and put myself out there. But yeah, this will take explicit dedication. By the way, so Alex says, by the way, I need to review my ID card. Wish me luck. Good luck. She knows why I'm laughing. It's bureaucracy here. I think this is the only thing I miss from the UK. So I used to say I don't miss anything from London, which is mostly true. Because people, when I moved here, lots of people were asking me, what I'm thinking about Barcelona, what do I miss from London, and the answer was like nothing. Like everything in Barcelona is better. Like I like my life here a lot more, but the one exception is bureaucracy, which is awful here. It's just I don't know how to even describe it. It's horrifying. Like any bureaucratic procedure here is it's just a huge nightmare. It's a violence. I find it very violent as an immigrant. But yeah. Oh, Selena says, hello, Etienne. I'm here to say hello. And also my nephew is going through the same process. It's quite annoying. Yes. I think annoying is an understatement, which is the point that I was getting at, which is that it's not just annoying, I think it's violent. I think it's quite oppressive in a level that I haven't seen anywhere else that I lived before. Because everything here demands that I have a document that they don't give me because they don't have time to. It's not because I haven't done anything wrong. It's not because I am missing some documents. It's not because whatever. It's just like the system has bottlenecks, and I am sitting here waiting forever, and I can't do anything while this happens. And the fact that I can't do anything while this happens is the worst. Like, I would be okay with waiting if I had permission to exist during this time. Like, to understand like the level of atrocity is I cannot rent a bicycle here in Spain, in Barcelona, because it requires that I prove that I am a resident, and even though I have, my rent, my contract, that I am registered in the city hall, that I have the empadronamiento, that I cannot rent a bicycle without a number that I'm still waiting for. yeah, I agree. So Lina says, I agree that as the immigrants, we can't complain about it. It's not like we can complain to the consumers' rights. Yeah, we can't. Like, there is no. I don't have power for anything at all. It's extremely frustrating. Um, so I'm just hoping that for all the documents to get ready and waiting for that. Um, and then everything's gonna be fine, right? I'm not particularly worried because it's just a matter of sitting and waiting. My documents have very little chance of going wrong because of my current privileges. I'm in a situation where I can basically count. Everything will be fine. It's just that even with all of the privileges that I have, it's extremely frustrating. So I imagine, like, what is the situation for people who are not in the same position as I am, right? It's... Yes. So how did I get to this stage? Oh yeah. Life things happening that occupy my head and cut me some study time. So Alex says, I think I won't be able to update my ID either because it's gonna go off and I'm not gonna get an appointment. Yeah, like getting appointments for stuff is the most horrible thing. There are even like companies set up to like scam people by getting their money and they book the appointment for you. I mean, it's not a scam because they book the appointment for you. The thing is, like, they go on the website of the governments and they book all of the appointments, and then they ask people for power of attorney to like then forward the appointment to this person, right? It's a hole in the system, basically. But the thing is, like, even if we tried, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay. Like, I'm desperate. Like, whatever. Like, if someone can get me the appointment, I'm gonna try, right? And they didn't have it either. They're like, sorry, it's gonna take weeks. I'm like, why? Why do you exist then? Anyway. But yeah, lots of things took me energy that could have been used to learn a language, including Catalan, right? I think this very counterproductive for the government here because it is something that puts an obstacle to my integration, right? Instead of helping me as an immigrant integrating into society here, it's making this process worse, right? For example, I wanted to get a driver's license because I don't know how to drive, right? I never learned how to drive. I just have been pushing this to the future for a long time. And I always lived in big cities that don't really need cars. And, you know, now I'm not employed, I cannot work because I'm still waiting for the visa, right? So I was thinking, okay, so this is the perfect time for me to learn how to drive, right? What I'm gonna, like, how can I use this time? I'm gonna learn how to drive. And I can't because my partner cannot teach me how to drive. That is illegal here. Only a registered driving school can teach me how to drive. But I cannot register to take classes in the driving school without the document that I'm waiting for. So I'm gonna So yeah, so it's a blocking obstacle for lots of things that would improve my integration here. So Alex was saying, yeah, they don't like immigrants. They wanted to move to another country and not finish permissions here. Yes, yes, this is mostly the case everywhere. In every country, they make this hard. But I think that the particular situations here make it worse in comparison with the other countries I've lived at so far, which were France, Germany, and the UK, at least. I can't tell about all of the other countries. So Lino says there's also a Telegram group, and they announce when there's appointments available. I forgot where to find it. Yeah, now I got the appointment thing sorted out, but I'm still waiting for stuff. So thank you, though. I'm gonna, if you find it later, do send it to me, though, because these things are always useful. Alex says, I have to go, have fun, this was great. Thank you. Good luck with your ID stuff, and see you around. See you tomorrow, actually. I'm gonna send you a message later about that. Thank you for showing up. Yes. So I think with that, we now kind of close the topic of how has it been with learning Spanish and Catalan since I moved here. So the summary is a mess. Lino has been living here for many years, right? It's like 13 years. You didn't have to learn Spanish because you already knew Spanish, right? So Lino's from Mexico, so that part was sorted out, the Spanish, with just Catalan to learn. So I'm curious to know what is the experience for someone that already knows Spanish here, because it's hard to say for me as a person who doesn't speak Spanish yet. I can get around in Spanish, but I still have to learn it, right? So in some ways it happens first for me. Even if I want to prioritize studying Catalan explicitly, the reason for that is because I am already learning Spanish by existing, right? I don't have to dedicate special time for that. But I can imagine that the experience for someone that comes here already knowing Spanish must obviously very different, right? So yeah, I'd love to know like how was the thought process about learning Catalan after moving to Barcelona. But yes, like there is definitely lots to talk about in this topic. I just wish I understood more of it, but hopefully I will get to this point soon. Right. I'm not sure if I continue the live streaming or if I stop it for today. I still have some more time, but it's been going for a while, so let me know. I still have some options of things to discuss. As I said, I can do some dev work while I live stream. I can play some Polygloss on the live stream. I can discuss giveaways and other options. If you want to launch a discussion, feel free to throw a question in the comments. Please do. Okay, so Lina says, I had a mixed experience Be honest, since the beginning, I never found a use for Catalan. Being a software developer, everyone speaks English or even German. But now, my circumstances have changed, and I realize that I haven't really learned it. So I'm catching up on that. Um, but being exposed for 10 plus years of Catalan, a lot of stuff sort of fits in. Yeah, I think that makes sense. This question of having use for Catalan is something that I've noticed a lot of people bring up, as in, oh, I could learn Catalan, but I don't really need it, right? So this is something that a lot of people say. Um, but I think I don't know. For me, there is also the matter of opportunity. I mean, I love learning languages, so while I'm living here, should I should learn the languages spoken here, right? Um, so to me, that is important, and to me, there's also like the importance of some of the things happening are only accessible in Catalan or they are Catalan first, right? Um, for example, last Saturday I was just walking on the street. Sorry, my partner was just walking on the street, and then he saw like this um, political thing happening, and then he told me. So I went there with him, and we had a walk, and we stopped a little bit. It seemed very important. It was like this anarchist group. They were talking about very important topics. They were discussing like these laws. There were a group that is like specifically for this neighborhood. It seems like a place that would be great for me to like connect and make like, I don't know, bonds with people here. But my level of Catalan was not good enough to participate and enjoy it, right? I was not understanding enough of what was going on to be able to, I don't know, to take something away from it, right? I was understanding some words here and there. It was enough for me to notice what they were talking about, but not to know exactly what was what they were talking, you know. So I ended up not staying until the end. It was just too hard. So my hope is that I have enough of a level to participate in this sort of environments, right? Um, yeah, so there, even though I haven't been here in a long time, there has been multiple of these situations where something was happening in Catalan, and I wish I could understand it because it looked awesome, right? So this kind of stuff. And yeah, I don't use Catalan at work. Or even with my friend. I don't even use Spanish with my friends here because all of them speak English. Some of them I met in London before I moved here. So I was already used to speaking English with them, even though they speak Spanish. One of them speaks Catalan, but we met in English, right? So now it's very difficult to switch gears, um, because I already associate a person with a certain language. It's very hard. I had more luck speaking Spanish to people that I have just met, right? And in a context where things were in Spanish. But yeah, so I don't need Catalan for basic life and social stuff, but there has been multiple circumstances where something was happening in Catalan and I wanted to participate. So yeah, so there's definitely a use, and I'm really excited to get to that point at some point. I think that would be very good for, I don't know, taking like a different direction in life, not focusing that much on work, um, You know, those kinds of things will be really helped here by knowing Catalan. Right. So I think this sort of concludes the topic of learning Catalan. And as I said, I still have some time. I can keep going with the live stream, or we can close for today. The options, as I said, is playing some Polygloss live. I can try playing some Polygloss in Catalan. No, I am too nervous for that. I can try playing some Polygloss in Spanish. I can do some development work while on the live stream, just, you know, hanging out while I work. That's pretty much it. So pick something in the comments or raise a new topic. And, you know, remembering that I have a huge delay between when something shows up in the chat and I read it. It takes some time. I'm not familiar with the whole live streaming shenanigans. I've mentioned this like multiple times in the streaming today. Just getting used with the whole being live, doing huge monologues. It feels very awkward, by the way. It's interesting. But, you know, I think it's good to get used to it, being out there more. It's always good to work on public speaking, on interacting with others. This is more of a monologue than a full interaction. Oh, question. What are the most popular languages in Polygloss? Let me check what are the... So there's a difference between being the most popular overall and being the most popular recently, because sometimes it changes, right? There are times when a community comes and they play a lot and then it fades away over time. So there has been groups of languages that went up and down through time. But nevertheless, the top one is, not surprisingly, is English. So the majority of people playing Polygloss are learning English. And the second one is Spanish. The third one is French or German. Let me check. Can say both. Let's say they are in a technical draw. French and German. Then Italian and Portuguese are also some of the popular languages. And after that, I would say Korean, Japanese, and Russian are the not so popular but with very active communities. Hebrew, there has been like an active community recently. And let me see what else. 1 second. Stats. I am looking at Firebase. Give me 1 second. So Arabic and Dutch are some of the languages with an active community as well after Hebrew. And that's pretty much. Oh, and Irish as well. So Irish coming after Arabic and Dutch. So to recap, English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, Russian, Arabic, Dutch, Hebrew. Did I mention Hebrew or am I repeating? Okay. And Irish and Norwegian. Okay, I got lost again, but that gives like a little bit of an overview. But to have an idea, for example, like the top languages have a lot more activity than the least used languages. So even though the game can be technically played in any language, having a critical mass of people makes like a huge difference, because then you can get responses in the matches, right? And this is something that it's very difficult to fix, but I am planning some workarounds for that, especially on the question of being able to review past sentences and being able to reuse what sentences are in the database, because sometimes there aren't currently active players in a language, but there have been in the past, and those sentences can be used as some sort of exercise, right? So they are currently being underutilized, and it will be great to like tap into this potential, right? So there's like at least 40,000 sentences in the database using over 50 languages, and that people have been writing, either as a learner or as a native speaker. So lots of things could be done with that, and I'm really excited to work on that. And it adds like a social aspect that working with, I don't know, like pre-made texts doesn't really, right? Because people can correct each other, people can see more or less what is the expected level of someone in their level. Feel free to bring more questions, by the way, in the meantime, because as I was saying, there is a huge delay between when something is on the chat and I can read it, so I keep rambling in a very long monologue to try to to address that. What was I saying? Completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, just bear with me. But yeah, I'm really excited to work on using the potential of all of these sentences that have like the social aspects of people correcting each other, and oh yeah, people seeing the level of other people, right? Because I think, at least in English, I see this very commonly. In Brazil, for example, people have an idea of what is the desirable level of English, and that it must be perfect, right? But the reality is, it doesn't have to be, right? You can do lots of things with like conversational level of English. You can get jobs with, not a fluent level of English, right? People, I've lived in the UK, and I met lots of people with like very heavy accents, either natives or immigrants, but people who's like, there were like communication difficulties related to like accent or proficiency or something, and it was fine. It wasn't a big problem, right? You just ask the person, oh, so sorry, I don't understand. What do you mean, right? Things like that are not a big deal if you're not like, I don't know, a copywriter. Depending on the profession, it's really not that important. And I think this gets popularized by English schools in Brazil, that it must be perfect. If it is not 100% perfect, then your English sucks or something, right? And I like the fact of demystifying that a little bit, to see how other people at your level communicate, instead of just how native speakers communicate, and understands that with your level in the language, there's lots you can do with it. I think it's very important to work with this mindset, and raise the awareness that, look, what you know, you can use it. You can use it for things, right? And bring that to the outside, right? And I think that being exposed to what other people learning are writing is very good for that. So really excited to continue working with this beautiful data set that is growing. It's really exciting. Right. So don't have more questions on the chat right now. Please add something in. I also have some options as for what to do next or in the meantime. I can play some Polygloss. I can do some development work while the live stream is up. Just hanging out while I work is an option. And that's pretty much it. But I will wait. Let me just check something, just to see how much time I still have, because I still have some time. But I need to see how much time exactly. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I think I still have more, half an hour ish, but seeing as there's not a lot of activity in the chat, I am gonna play some Polygloss in Spanish a little bit, because I was gonna do that anyway. And then after that, I don't know, I'm gonna go work or something. So let me try to share my screen on my phone, which is always a pain because technology is horrible. By the way, please let me know if I'm reading your username right, Mixita Beno. I can't see your profile picture very well because the software I'm using for streaming is not super great, and your picture is like appearing like this size for me, so I can't really see. But are you the person from Australia that I met on Polyglot Gathering? Let me know, because if I remember correctly, you were also working on software engineering and working on creating your own app, right? Right. Feel free to talk about it here, by the way. Like, this is not like, oh, you're like advertising my competition. Like, I really like it's fine. Like, we are all like independent developments, you know. trying to do cool stuff. Right. So let me see. Let me try some Spanish. Oh, I got some matches from Lino and Catalan. I could do some Catalan, but I am so shy. I'm gonna leave Catalan for a different day, I think. Oh, so Beno says, yeah, that's me. So how is your language development stuff going? Let me know. I would love to get some updates on that because I think I have your contact on Facebook maybe, but I never use Facebook, so it's a bit complicated. I I lost contact with everyone I have a contact there. So I'm really happy you're here, so thanks for showing up. So Bena says there's not much to talk about at the moment, just slowly hacking away. What are you hacking? Are you still working on the reading thing? Este animalito vive en la pared. What is? I think like on the cartoon, like the rats that live inside and go out in the little door on the bottom. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. Este animal produce. Wait, let me change keyboards. I have the Portuguese keyboards. 1 second. Produce la leche. So Bena says I'm using Twitter a lot more lately. Yeah, I always use Twitter more than Facebook. It's a different vibe, but has some of the same problems of Facebook. It's also like Facebook's UI is just very bad nowadays. It's just like so slow and weird, and I don't know. They have bad UI. Okay, I'm gonna try to answer Lino's match in Catalan. Españollet soc lo millor de la tardor. Soc? Isn't soc like a like I am? By the way, please do not mind my butchering of the pronunciation. I do not know how things are pronounced in Catalan. But I think that this verb here is wrong. Let me check. Yes, my intuition is not completely random. Oh wait, the stream is kind of frozen, or there is like a huge delay, I've just noticed. That's a bit annoying. So Beno says, yeah, that's the first part. I'm working on getting words from the dictionary first. It's like 80% done. When it's ready, I'll do a lot of reading to test it. Nice. So you're then I don't even know how to pronounce the word Catalan. Me neither. How do you say Catalan in Catalan? Like Catalan? That's probably it. But I'm really just mostly guessing. this one. So with COVID, we have precautions. And yeah, I'm gonna bookmark this so I can check it later. Destino Mall, I'm gonna guess it's this one because this means I love you a lot. And I am done with my Catalan sentences. I could do some French. I have lots of pending matches in French, but I'm gonna do some Spanish instead. Feeling like Spanish today. Yeah, the delay is quite bad, so I'm not sure this is going to work. Yeah, maybe I'll leave this for a different day. Just gonna try to do this one sentence. And then I'm gonna say goodbye to the stream. Let me see. En año nuevo. I don't know if in Spanish people say the new year like this, or if they say it differently. But as I said, I don't speak Spanish either. I speak Portuguese, right? I put some words in and hope for the best. Nuevo contaré hasta la medianoche. So New Year, I will count to midnight. So, as I said, hoping for the best. And I'm not gonna write some more sentences right now because the delay is too big, which makes this a little bit annoying. And that means I am going to close down the stream, or just go do some development work in the meantime, because gotta do some more work today. But I want to thank you all for coming and for dropping by and saying hello, and wish you all a great day. Lynn, I'll see you around. I'll see you soon. Benno, let's get in touch. Good luck with your app. Let me know how it's going. I'm also more active on Twitter, so send me something